The Federal Department of Justice is stepping in to take a look at yet another city's police department, this time the Columbus, Ohio PD. Columbus is where officers shot and killed 16-year-old Ma'Khia Bryant earlier this year, and that's far from the only example of deadly encounters between the Columbus Police Department and Black and brown people. According to the Mapping Police Violence Project, the Columbus Police Department kills people at a higher rate than 78 of the 100 largest U.S. city police departments. A staggering 83% of those killed are Black, and they rank second only behind Chicago in the number of children killed since 2015. And many fear the review by the DOJ won't go far enough. With me to talk about what's happening in our nation's 14th largest city is attorney Sean Walton. He represents some of the families of several people killed by Columbus Police and heads the Columbus Police Accountability Project. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, can you tell me about some of the families you represent and what their loved ones have experienced at the hands of the Columbus Police Department?
Absolutely, because their stories need to be told. For the past few years, I've represented many victims of police violence in Columbus, Ohio. That includes actual police shootings, different instances of police abuses, also people who have been discriminated against, racially profiled, and so on. And my practice is a bit different because I actually represent police officers who have also been discriminated against internally by the Columbus Division of Police. So I've seen it on both sides. I've seen that discrimination throughout this city and throughout this city's police department.
So these individual experiences obviously are part of a larger documented history, which I referred to before. The department kills people at an astoundingly high rate. The people they kill are overwhelmingly Black, and they are second only to Chicago in the number of children they kill. How do you explain that?
Yeah, so I also represent the family of 13-year-old Tyree King, who was killed back on September 14th, 2016. So tomorrow marks the 5-year anniversary. And so in the aftermath of Tyree being killed, what we saw was the mayor and the police chief at the time, Kim Jacobs, have a press conference where they held up a picture of a BB gun because Tyree had an inoperable BB gun. And the mayor and the police chief sought to essentially turn the public against this 13-year-old and criminalize him, as opposed to asking why their police officer decided to take his life, as opposed to other measures. And so when Ma'Khia Bryant happens in 2021 and folks ask how can this happen, it's because for the last 5 years, the city has refused to accept responsibility. And that goes back decades. And so when you see Columbus, right next to Chicago, it's because Columbus flies under the radar, but it's because of the intentional acts of folks like the mayor and the police chief that intend to make sure that Columbus does not have a Black eye in the national spotlight.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to get to them in a few minutes. Now, Black people make up 28% of the Columbus population. What are the relations between police and the Black community like?
It's tough because for years, Black people in Columbus feel as if no matter what they do, no matter what complaints they make, or no matter what steps they take to ask the city leadership for help, that nothing changes. And so we have an FOP that is extremely powerful in this city, and we have a history of politics in Columbus that prioritize the police over the people. And so there's a sense of hopelessness and the belief that nothing will change. And our thought was that with our demand for a DOJ investigation that took place back in April, that finally something would change. Unfortunately, it seems like more politics as usual because this review is not an investigation. So relations are not great right now, as is the case in most cities. Unfortunately, Columbus has a documented history of ignoring the people and the cries of the people for help.
Now, Sean, the mayor of Columbus, Andrew Ginther, along with the city attorney, requested this review by the Federal Department of Justice. In his original statement, Mayor Ginther said, quote, "This is not about one particular officer, policy, or incident. Rather, this is about reforming the entire institution of policing in Columbus." What's your response to the mayor's statement? And do you think this review, obviously you don't think this review is going far enough, so what do you suggest happens instead?
So it's lip service first and foremost. It's a political move. It's not geared towards actually reforming the police department. And so for some background, back in April, on April 29th, the Columbus Police Accountability Project, which I'm a founder of, we made a demand that the DOJ come in and investigate the Columbus Division of Police. But I believe the mayor caught wind that that demand was taking place and that it was going to be a powerful demand made by a coalition of leaders in Columbus. And the day before, he made an announcement requesting a review of practices and policies. And so there's a key difference there. A review requested by the mayor simply touches on technical aspects, and the actual office within the DOJ that request was made to the community-oriented policing services division is not the civil rights division. It's not a patterns and practice investigation, which needs to take place. And again, for some more context, 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, back in 1999, the DOJ did sue the city of Columbus based on discrimination against Black and brown citizens. And Columbus was the first city to actually fight that DOJ lawsuit. And so there was a settlement as opposed to a consent decree, as is the case in most cities. And so here in 2021, it's more of the same.
Got it. I was going to ask you what the difference was with this investigation and the patterns and practice investigation. Okay. The mayor's office responded to some of the criticism today when we reached out to them. This is their statement, quote, "The Department of Justice set the terms by which it would engage the city of Columbus, not Mayor Ginther. Mayor Ginther and the city attorney Klein invited the DOJ to review Columbus Police Department," that's in all caps, "on whatever terms it wanted and agreed to full cooperation. That remains true as the DOJ begins its review, whether that remains as a review or leads to an investigation." What do you make of that explanation, Sean?
It is completely misleading. I watched that press conference. Mayor Ginther and Zach Klein, they touted this as a partnership, something innovative that they wanted to do. So they did not invite the DOJ to review things on their terms, because clearly the community, a broad coalition of faith-based clergy, community activists, and legal observers, believed that this was necessary. And again, as I mentioned, the mayor preempted that demand by making this request for a review. There's a reason for that, because this investigation would unveil decades of abuses by the Columbus police, and they don't want that. And so that's why it's a political move to ask for this review. And then as we see, the country's covering it as the DOJ coming in to review the city of Columbus. But Mayor Ginther and Zach Klein, they picked which areas they actually wanted the DOJ to review. That's not an investigation. That does not lead to reform. That does not uncover the history of abuses in the city. So it's misleading. It is not a decision by the DOJ. And if you'll notice, the DOJ did not make this announcement. Mayor Ginther did. The DOJ, they announced pattern and practice investigations where they have full control. Here, they're providing advice. Right. And so it's a misleading statement.
So how do we turn this investigation to a patterns and practice investigation?
So we have to continue to push. While this is unprecedented that the city leadership has asked the community-oriented policing services unit to come in and investigate it, it's unprecedented because it's just not the right move. What needs to happen is that the DOJ and the folks in DC need to step up and overrule this decision, because again, it's not an official DOJ-initiated investigation, it's a review. And so we won't let up, because this review is more of the same. Columbus has spent millions of dollars in the past 5 years making recommendations on best practices, and those are not implemented. And so what needs to happen is the power to have court-ordered oversight of reforms. Otherwise, it's more of the same. So we'll keep pushing, because this is not enough. We cannot allow this to look as if the DOJ is investigating Columbus, because it's not. And there's so many issues that have gone on in Columbus over the past few years. There have been, like I said, police-involved shootings of Henry Green, Tyree King. Jerron Thomas was killed in a manner very similar to George Floyd in Columbus, but Columbus flies under the radar. And so it's on us to keep pushing, and we hope that the country continues to shine a light and investigate the actions of the police officers in Columbus, because unfortunately, we have very astute and seasoned politicians who know how to flip the narrative. We cannot allow that to happen. All
right, attorney and head of the Columbus Police Accountability Project, Sean Walton. Thank you so much for your time, Counselor.